Welcome back to Sportsbook Review Videos. Wild Card Weekend lived up to its name and did not disappoint, as for the first time in NFL history, all four road teams won their respective matchups straight up, and now we head into the divisional round with some excellent matchups and some updated Super Bowl future odds. We're going to take a look at some trends and all the odds here for the 8 teams remaining, but the biggest trends heading into Super Bowl weekend that you might want to take a look at now, considering that might be one of the last times you can get some really nice value with 8 teams remaining, is that underdogs have been very good in the Super Bowl here recently. In the last 14, 15 years or so, underdogs are 11-3 against the spread. Very, very good, and also they've been pretty good straight up as well, winning 6 of the last 8 Super Bowls. So coming into the Super Bowl, take a look at the underdogs here, but for the divisional round, it is definitely some very nice NFL odds on tap for you in this one. And starting off with the Arizona Cardinals, a team that hops in here from Bovada as the Super Bowl favorite as of right now at plus 425. Of course, they have a very good and should be what should be a very good matchup this week coming up in the divisional round against the Green Bay Packers. But team like the Packers here coming in looking like they could be the real deal and finally catching their stride as the underdog this week. Of course, we all know what happened about 5 years ago when the Packers were the 6th seed as well. They ran all the way to the Super Bowl. Could this be a repeat? I'm not sure, but probably the one lone reason why I'm not taking a stab at the Arizona Cardinals at plus 425 to win the Super Bowl, despite the fact that they're a 7-point favorite this week at home. Probably not a team you're looking to wager on here in that price. Next up is the New England Patriots at plus 450. They come in against the Kansas City Chiefs. Probably the easiest of the matchups, despite the fact that they're only the second lowest spread here. Denver and Arizona both higher favorites than the New England Patriots this week, so I'm not sure if that means that they could be a pretty good wager against the spread, but at plus 450, they seemingly have a pretty good pathway to the Super Bowl, considering that Denver and Pittsburgh are both big-time wild cards with Pittsburgh's injuries, and of course, nobody really knows what they're going to get from Peyton Manning this week for Denver. So at plus 450, I think the Patriots, if you're looking for a chalk play to bet on a Super Bowl team to win it here, could be a pretty good play to go back-to-back here this week. Another one that has a pretty good price this week on the NFC side is the Carolina Panthers. I think I didn't mention in the Super Bowl trends is that the NFC is 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 Super Bowls, and the Carolina Panthers come in at 5-1. Really a tough matchup, obviously, this week against the Seattle Seahawks, but I think this is not a Seahawks team that we've seen the last 2 years. In fact, Carolina, I think, could be a pretty good play, not only against the spread this week, but in the Super Bowl odds at 5-1. I think they should be priced a little bit shorter, up closer to where the Patriots and the Cardinals are. But 5-1 odds here on the Carolina Panthers might be one of the better values of the entire Super Bowl odds left here from Bovada. Next up is the Seattle Seahawks. They're priced right behind them at plus 550. Of course, they are in Carolina this week as 2.5 to 3-point underdogs, and they could easily pull one out here against the Carolina Panthers, but a much tougher matchup here, road matchup this week, even though they had to deal with the elements last week. And of course, the Minnesota Vikings choking away that game. The Seattle shouldn't have even won if it wasn't for Blair Walsh. So not quite sure I'm ready to take the plus 550 here with the Seattle Seahawks. I think there's a better team priced very similarly that could have a better play. And in fact, that team is the Denver Broncos, priced at plus 550. They're likely the biggest wild card left in the playoffs because even though they've struggled a lot on offense all year, Peyton Manning is coming off of a lot of rest, and he could be fresher and healthier than we've seen him in a very, very long time. And at plus 550, they're going up against a Pittsburgh Steelers team that is decimated by injury right now. Not quite sure how Ben Roethlisberger is going to respond to his sprained AC joint. Of course, Antonio Brown went down late in that game. Pac-Man Jones thinks he was faking. And of course, D'Angelo Williams didn't even play. So Denver has the road if they can get past this week and potentially get past the Patriots as well. It's not unforeseeable that they could win the Super Bowl here. Plus 550, though, is a very sharp number here, so not quite sure if I'm ready to jump in on it, but it definitely is appealing. Now, after those 5 teams, significant drop-off here, all the way down to the Kansas City Chiefs at plus 900 to win the Super Bowl. They, of course, have a very tough matchup this week compared to what they did last week, shutting out the Houston Texans. Going up in New England is not going to be an easy matchup, and 9-1, definitely not something that I want to wager on the Kansas City Chiefs here. If Brady's O-line holds up, they're getting Julian Edelman back this week as well, it looks like. So the Patriots getting healthy at the right time. Kansas City with Jeremy Maclin's sprained ankle looking potentially questionable for this matchup too. Just just not somebody, not a team I'm really excited about at the price. But next up is the Pittsburgh Steelers at 12-1. Obviously, injuries play a large role into this one, but they could be really a valuable price here at 12-1, even though they are on the road in Denver. It's not a game that's unwinnable here if they can get all their guys healthy, especially with the way that Denver's been playing on offense here recently. Of course, like I said, this is the biggest wild card game of the divisional round. Excuse me for using the term from last week, but really is a really unpredictable game. Probably not a game I'm looking to place a wager on in specific here, but Pittsburgh is a viable option here at 12-1. But just like the Broncos and Seahawks at the same price at plus 550, there's another team here at 12-1. That is the Green Bay Packers here that I think would be a better wager if you're looking for a long shot value, because the Packers this week, of course, on the road in Arizona, a team they can beat if they play similarly to what they did against the Redskins. And of course, as we know, they have already done this before, making a run at the Super Bowl as the 6th seed. So it's not unforeseen that Aaron Rodgers could get hot here in the playoffs and carry this team into the Super Bowl and potentially winning it at 12-1. Probably not going to get a better price on the Packers here, especially if they win this week. That number could easily be cut in half down to 6-1. So if you like the value on the Packers, if you like jumping on that bandwagon, I suggest you do it here at 12-1 instead of waiting until next week. But that'll do it for your updated Super Bowl odds and trends. We'll be covering the rest of the playoffs and the big game, of course, in extense here as we head down the stretch run of the NFL playoff season. But until then, for Sportsbook Review, I'm Jordan Sharp.